I was recently watching a video about people voicing their life on social media. Whether it's fake or not, there has to be a line of what you talk about on social media. I enjoy talking about my life and having opinions about certain topics and everything, but that doesn't mean I should talk about my deepest and darkest moments in my life and do it, consistently. Also, I shouldn't expose myself in a way where people can harm me or others. A lot of people have a tendency to yap online, and I don't blame them because it is kind of a way of, venting and stuff like that. However, you don't always need to bring your kids involved or bring your husband involved or boyfriend involved and all this other stuff. I believe most of the things online are fake anyways, but even if it is fake, there is still a way that you could, present yourself online without having to do all of this stuff. Even if it is fake, it can still harm people in ways that you actually don't really know about. Or the fact that you're actually crying on camera and decided to record about it is kind of odd to me. So another thing that people just don't know about is privacy. It's like no one knows what privacy is anymore, and that is just the state of the world that we actually live in now. People will share their whole family on there when it comes to social media, and then sooner or later, AI is actually going to take all of your information and use you for content. That's just something I've kind of thought about as of recently. I mean, no one really knows what privacy is anymore, so I guess why does it even matter? Because we just live in a state of surveillance 24/7. When it comes to making content, I find it odd that the system is just going to use as much data from you as possible. Like they use facial recognition all the time. Once like every time you put on like a filter or anything like that, just keeps on getting better and better. It's just storing your information in probably a data center and all this other stuff. So I have an iPad that you can use like a fingerprint to unlock it, and anything that requires like a fingerprint or anything like that, it's probably going into the data center as well. Not to mention that they're stealing our voices with every video that we do. I mean, I'm guilty of making content because I enjoy making content, and honestly, I don't see this stopping anytime soon. If you are someone who values privacy, then your best bet is just to stay away from social media as much as possible, even technology at this point, but it's really hard to. People need to find a line between content and privacy because having the world knowing every little thing about you is probably not safe. There are videos where they say 100 views is a lot, which it actually is. So if you're explaining your whole life and you get like 2,000 views on a video, that's actually a lot of people, assuming that those views are real people and it's not a dead internet theory or anything like that. However, people just do not care. Another reason is that people love to explain their negative parts of their life because, let's face it, positivity does not sell. It never has. Nobody cares why your life is going great because you just kind of come off as arrogant, anyways. So, most of the time, people will tell you the worst parts of their life because that's what sells. That is what is interesting, and that's what can make headlines and grab people's attention. That's why the news, if you still watch the news, I personally don't watch the news anymore because it's always just a bunch of bullshit. The news will only tell stories that are negative because it always sells. Even here on YouTube, I don't always want to make doom and gloom videos, but it seems like they get the best amount of views. People are gravitated towards negativity, and the algorithms reward it because people are engaging with it more. Then the cycle just keeps on continuing. People just keep watching negativity 24/7, and then they wonder why their life always feels worse than it normally is. Why do you think the people who created these algorithms do not interact with them whatsoever? They know what it is capable of, and they just don't want to be addicted to them like the rest of the world. Not every part of social media is bad, but you need to be aware of what you're consuming and how it affects you. Another point that I like to point out is that people love validation from their yap sessions or their therapy sessions or whatever it is we're going to be talking about. However, these yap sessions aren't making you better when it comes to like actual therapy because there is no one really on the other side of it when you're, talking about things. Validation, likes, and comments are not going, to save you. They're not the same as actually going to therapy. I understand that people need to vent sometimes, but does no one want to talk to their friends anymore? You can actually journal too. Like you can pick up a pen and a piece of paper or like a notebook and actually write in it. At least that's what I do. And personally, I kind of find it pretty, it's actually really fun. And I know this channel is kind of similar to that, but it's just a difference between like actually journaling and then expressing how you feel about everything and having opinions compared to like actually like going to a therapist and stuff. It's just kind of interesting though, because the thing is though, let's say the dead internet theory is true, then all of those likes, comments, and reshares and everything else with that post has basically meant nothing, and that there is no one on the other side, which it's kind of hard to know what is real and what is not fake anymore, but all that fake validation for nothing, it basically seems like. However, people cannot tell a difference if it feels real or not. Basically, it just feels like everyone has psychosis now because no one feels what is real and what isn't real anymore. It's like no one can tell the difference from reality and the online world. Then once they get all that validation, they just keep posting the same content because that's what the algorithm, likes. Then they start to move to more of an extreme, or they start faking more content because that's just what the algorithm wants. Like we have to like sit on our knees and pray to the algorithm gods to hope that our content starts to make us money or something, and not actually enjoy what we like to do anymore. Another thing is that people do not know you over the internet. As a content creator, you have to understand that people do not know you and you don't really know your audience on a personal level. It is a parasocial relationship, and that's it. So you have to treat it as such and remember that it is a parasocial relationship. You don't know that these people exist, and vice versa. Like they know you exist, but like through a camera, to the point like, well, they haven't really met you. So if they saw you out in public, it'd be probably a different thing. Of course, we can like converse on social media and communicate as such, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to share your feelings, and they're not obligated to know every part of your life. It just gives the illusion that it feels like you know them because of a camera, which kind of like it's like weird. It's like you can get this like weird intimate feeling with someone without actually them having to be there, but you can still see them make eye contact. It feels like they're talking to you and all this other things. The problem with that is that it can isolate you and make you feel like you know these people when you really don't. I believe most people are aware of this, and you have to be able to distinguish the two. And I say just be careful because your audience isn't really your therapist, and most of them aren't really your friends. Because, I don't know, you don't need to vent everything of your life. Another thing I realize is that you are not a commodity and you are not your content. Lastly, the system treats people like commodities, and to make yourself marketable, you have to turn yourself into a commodity as well. Remember that you are human and we all have needs that need to be met. You are not your content for the most part because people generally put on a mask when they start recording, anyways. That's why everyone kind of sounds the same and talks the same and uses the same like hand gestures and body language and all this other stuff. They're just making themselves marketable so they can get what they want out of you, whether it's a product they're selling, either it's time retention, or hopefully they actually like making content for the sake of making content. Just keep in mind that you don't have to make therapist sessions every time you go on social media. Not everything has to be a vlog or lifestyle snippets. Sometimes it's just best to put the phone down and do some reflection for yourself. Honestly, just be careful what you say online, but I know this video will not stop people from doing so, even though I'm a small creator and only get like 100 views per video anyways. Even for myself, I'll have to take accountability for my own words and hopefully live up to the expectations for myself. Then again, it's hard not to use social media as a journal because, in some sense, it is a digital journal and you have your digital footprint and everything like that. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far, I'm trying to get my way to the 7th gym and beat Team Aqua. We're slowly getting there, and I'm just leveling up my team. But check everything in the description if you guys would like to. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.